In a world with AI, algorithms, constant screen time, and instant dopamine hits aimed at keeping you scrolling indefinitely, reading is rebellion. It's where you can say, enough, I'm pushing back, and I'm taking my time back. We're in a non-stop attention economy. Content is constantly being shoved in front of our faces, trying to prey on our emotions, and everything just feels fake. There's no connection anymore. Everything is devoid of personal feelings. Everything is so artificially, socially engineered to appeal to you. Your data is constantly tracked, and then it's regurgitated back at you in some sort of sick way to get you to purchase things you don't even care about. And I'm done with it. I'm out of the game. I don't want to live my life just from distraction, to work, to sleep, to distraction. I'm done with that. I don't need rage-inducing headlines aimed to infuriate me, no matter what. I don't need social media telling me I'm failing at life because my manufactured life online doesn't compare to somebody else's fake manufactured life that they're putting online. And the easiest way to opt out of this is to pick up one of these, a book. And this is one of the last places that they haven't managed to shove ads into. And I know you're gonna say, yes, they do, Matt. At the back of the book, they'll have a chapter for the next book in the series, or they'll have a list of other books written by that author, by that publisher. I don't consider those ads, but I'm not counting those because they're not socially engineered to appeal to you or to me, like these new Frankenstein ads that they have out. You know, they're not specific ones placed in the middle of the book. They are there to say, hey, if you liked this, here's something else you might enjoy. Here's more by this author, if you enjoy the author. To me, those aren't true ads. Sometimes they're not even by the same publisher. They're just listing the works by that author. Still though, this only counts for physical books because, of course, Amazon has found a way that when you finish an ebook to pop up asking you to purchase the next book in the series, asking you to purchase more books like the one you just read. Again, some algorithm telling me what I will like instead of an actual human. I'm done. I'm out of that. That's why when I read on my tablet, it's a really old tablet. It can barely handle the internet. I pop it into airplane mode when I read the book anyways, so A, I'm not getting distracted by anything else. B, it can't handle pop-up notifications to begin with. And C, when I finish the book, I'm not getting ads from Amazon to buy another book that I may or may not like. We all hate the subscription model method now. I'll give them credit. When it first launched, especially back in Netflix in the early 2000s when they were actually mailing out DVDs in the mail, it was a pretty novel idea and it was really amazing to be able to pay $7.99 and get 3 movies mailed to you. We're long past that. Everything now is a subscription model. And the only thing worse than a subscription model is a subscription model with ads. Looking at you, again, Amazon. But Hulu, Netflix, everyone else is doing it too. You can't even sit down to watch a 2-hour movie without the movie being interrupted to sell you some shit you don't even care about. But you know where you can sit down and do something and not be bombarded with ads? Physical books. Hell, you can read something like the Monkey Wrench game, which came out in the 70s, about 4 eco-saboteurs and their quest to take down consumerism in America by destroying any billboards, bridges, and dams that they find. Man, if only Edward Abbey knew what we were going to be doing in 2025, I can only imagine what that book would look like now. And the more you read, the more you win the war for your attention, because not only is every minute you spend reading a minute you aren't engaging in their manufactured, distracted-based world, it's also a minute you spend training your attention span, meaning you're actually strengthening your mind for the next time you want to pick up a book and making it easier to do so. Just like any other physical activity where repetition and endurance builds up and makes it easier, same too with reading. Read for 5 minutes a day and soon you can push that to 10. Read for 10 minutes a day for a week and soon you're pushing that to 20. Read for 20 minutes and now you're pushing that to 30 and so on. And now you've got yourself being able to read in the evening after work instead of sit down watching TV, scrolling through TikTok, scrolling through Instagram, and just being force-fed stuff you don't want. But you need to engage with it, and that engagement takes time. And it's not like listening to a 4-minute song or watching a 2-hour movie. You need to spend, what, like 6 to 40 plus hours to finish a book, depending on how big that book is? And you can't passively engage with that. And please note, I said engage. I did not say consume. You do not consume art. You engage with it. But that's a whole other tirade that I could go down. Let me know in the comments if you want me to film a video about engaging with art over passively consuming art and how you don't actually do that. Let me know in the comments. I've got a lot of thoughts on that. But I digress. But when you read a book, whether it's 200 pages, whether it's over 1,000 pages, you're focusing on that. That's where your attention is going. You're investing in that story. And when you pick up that book, you know that's what you're doing. When I pick up this book to read it, I know this is what, 250-ish pages? It's probably gonna take me somewhere between 6 to 9 hours when I read this. And I love that. I love that when I'm getting out of work, after I get done spending time with family, instead of sitting down and just scrolling mindlessly on my phone, doing nothing of any substance whatsoever, I'm gonna engage with some art, and it's gonna be great. In a world where everything is seemingly made just to get you to the next distraction, it's not actually trying to enrich your life in any way. Passively consume and get you onto the next thing as quick as possible, and keep scrolling and dopamine hit this. Reading breaks that mold. You pick this book up, you are engaging with it. You're thinking about its themes. You're thinking about the plot. You are building empathy for the characters, for yourself, for humans, which is something all of the world needs to do better. And when you read a physical book, it's completely analog. You can't turn the page and get screamed at by some political has-been pundit telling you this next rage-inducing thing that they've done to distract you from whatever last rage-inducing thing that they've done, that they did to distract you from the last one. Ad infinitum. The book isn't socially engineered to push you further down some extreme rabbit hole. The next chapter isn't going to be, can we make this go a little bit further and see if we can get this reader to engage in something that's a little bit more out there and a little bit more crazy, because the crazier we go, the longer they stay engaged in our system. Books don't operate that way. And that next chapter isn't changing depending on what I've previously read and what I've previously engaged with. Chapter 8 for me in American Tabloid is the same Chapter 8 in American Tabloid that you're going to read. None of it changes based on our previous likes, dislikes, watch time, read time, things like that, checking off these boxes for some made-up algorithm trying to appeal to us. It's what the author wanted us to read, and it's the same across the board. And because of that, books don't treat you like an idiot. They let you make up your own mind. Yeah, the author might have some point of view that you don't agree with that you can see in the book, but it lets you decide on that. It isn't tested in some think tank or some socially engineered to prey on your emotions in an attempt to keep you engaged with the work. It lets you think. It lets you interpret the book and choose what you want to carry on from that book and what you want to disregard. And sometimes the author themselves even do this. We all know the authors out there who seem to have written works of fiction about one thing and have totally opposite, abhorrent views. We all know who they are. We don't need to name names here. Books are one of the last bastions against the shitification that the world is going through. They are one of the last things that you can get for free, no ads attached. Libraries are the biggest bookstore in your town. They will let you walk in, browse the shelves, and walk out with 10 to 15 books at a time with only a promise that you're going to return them. Nowhere else in the world can you do anything like this. And yet, libraries are constantly under threat now of being defunded. Not losing money. They're under the threat of being defunded, not given money from the programs that are there to support them. On top of that, book banning is more popular than ever. People are pushing to ban anything that they claim is questionable. People that are too afraid to open their mind, to see the world from a different worldview, or just lose their power are terrified of books, and they're doing everything they can to shut them down. I can't see any reason why the people that are doing this are doing this besides the fact that they are scared that they're going to lose their power, and this is the last thing that we have in the world that isn't just algorithm AI, social engineering against them. Books let you think for yourselves. Hell, the most banned author here in the United States is Stephen King. And I can tell you, as somebody who's read quite a bit of Stephen King, that the scariest thing, the most terrifying thing that you're going to read in a Stephen King novel isn't some teenagers having sex. It isn't going to be some grisly horror scene. It's going to be the backwoods people that he writes that are absolutely exist and that are absolutely terrified of any forward progress. They're also one of the last places that haven't been swept up in some algorithm to give you soulless recommendations based on some invisible checkboxes or whatever that company's being paid to promote next. Whether you're looking at book recs from the local bookstore, you're talking to the librarian, or you watch BookTube, all of these are human-based recommendations. It's not an AI, it's not an algorithm, it's not mining your personal data to see what you may or may not like and then giving you something that may or may not like after that. It is people connecting with you, learning about you, talking with you, listening to you, and then making those recommendations for you. They're not saying that you're going to love it, but it's a human-to-human connection, not some soulless machine to you. And that's been the thing that I've loved most since starting this BookTube channel. It's been talking with you in the comments and getting these connections. I had somebody recommend that I needed to read Come Closer by Sarah Gran, and so I listened to them, and that's been one of the best books that I've read this year, and it absolutely blew me away. And I've seen that book listed from time to time before on some other lists, but it was just some soulless list of read these books. But when someone saw what I liked, watched the videos that I made, and said, hey, based on what other stuff you've enjoyed, I think you're going to like this, that made me stop and think, I should give this a try. And they were right, and I loved it. Getting those human connections, those human recommendations are so much more powerful and impactful than whatever list Google AI spits out when you type in, top 5 horror books to read this year. The next time you find yourself reaching for your phone or mindlessly scrolling TikTok or whatever social media app that you choose to use, join me in rebelling instead. Pick up a book and read for 20 minutes and see how much your mind appreciates dropping out of the attention economy and dropping into a good book. And if you're looking for a good book, check out this video I made on where to start with the crime genre. Give it a watch, see if any stand out to you. Or just go to your local library and ask your librarian for what's a good recent book. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and in the comments, why don't you tell me what the best book that's been recommended to you by another human is, and who recommended it to you. Also, if you want more stuff like this, please consider subscribing. Until next time, keep your porch light on.